This is Dustin with TechX Cyber. This is the fifth installment in an educational series on cybersecurity topics. Today I'm going to be chatting about incident response. I am a cyber investigator by trade. This is my primary technical skill, so very near and dear to my heart, something that I know very closely and intimately. And I want to chat about the frameworks that we talked about in earlier sections, the guides, and each time that you have a regulation or you're looking at a framework, there is a guarantee that they're going to require a document called your incident response plan. So you need to write down your efforts of how your company's going to respond when something goes wrong. This is either required by law or you're doing your due diligence and due care. This is part of the process, so we need to document this. The other interesting thing that comes up a lot is there needs to be a test of the incident response plan. We need to check and see, is this document sufficient? Do the individuals discussed in it with roles and responsibilities know what to do? And does the company in general have a solid core foundation of how they're going to respond to incidents? So when we go through that exercise, we learn a lot about what's working, what's not, and then we can update the plan so when something does go wrong, we're adequately prepared. So let's dive in here a little bit and let's take a look at the process. There are 4 steps here, starting at preparation, moving over to detection and analysis. Then we're going to contain, eradicate, and recover. And then there's some sort of post-incident activity where we do a lessons learned exercise to figure out what went wrong and how do we stop this in the future. So part of your preparation efforts here is to make a document. Create a centrally managed incident response plan that outlines how the company is going to address situations that involve cybersecurity. Now, there are some very key items and discussion topics that need to show up inside of your incident response plan. We need to make sure that individuals are assigned tasks, they know what they're responsible for, they know who to call and contact, and that there's open lines of communication. We need some technical playbooks to follow when things go wrong so that we can make sure we recover properly and that we eradicate the situation that's happening currently so that we can return to normal business operations. So preparation is your first step. We need to do that through the documentation. And as we move over to detection and analysis, this is where things can get a little bit tricky because there can be a wide range of possibilities of how we do this. We want to get something in place that's going to send us an alert when something goes wrong. So it depends on the software stack that we're using, our technology profile, and what software we brought in-house to do that to let us know this. This could require some tuning or some advice from a cybersecurity professional to help a company dial in how they're actually detecting what's going wrong. The other one that's very similar is the containment and eradication. In these situations, a company is going to need help, requires a very specific skill set to come in and collect evidence properly, establish chain of custody, ensure that the integrity of a third party is conducting the investigation, and then adequately analyze the information and the evidence to determine what happened so that we can get a clear picture and understanding of what the events played out and what was impacted so that we can fix that and prevent that in the future. So that's what the incident response process looks like in a very quick description. So let's go down here a little bit and talk about why we may do something like this. Well, first of all 50 states have a breach notification law. There are some challenges in these laws as some of the requirements and the parameters about what is a reportable incident vary, as well as the type of data that may be associated that would require a breach response notification, as well as the quantity and time frames. And so all of these are different. They're pretty close in similarity, but there are some specifics that we need to dial in on for our specific state. The other thing to consider is if you're taking in customer information from customers in other states, not just the one that you're operating in, you may also be required to abide by those breach notification laws as well. So the interesting thing here is that there are really no breach notification police. In some scenarios, you could sweep things under the rug and hope nobody notices. But if you are noticed, there could be bigger fines and penalties coming from your state or attorney general. So we want to practice our due diligence and due care. We're going to do the right thing. We're going to do the reasonable thing. And we're going to do an investigation after we see something has gone wrong. So where do we start with this? We create a plan. We need to make that incident response plan where we need to document the specifics is really a foundation of the cybersecurity program. We need to talk about the roles and responsibilities, how we're monitoring them, how we're going to respond, and who to contact. So we always have to test the plan, as I said earlier in the presentation. We need to check for effectiveness. Is this enough? Do the people understand what they need to do? Have we missed anything? So we can go through what we call a tabletop exercise to uncover gaps and deficiencies in the plan. And then at the end, after we've learned these lessons, we can update it to strengthen and bolster it so that when something does go wrong, we're more adequately prepared. And the last thing is the investigation. Now, I talked about getting help from a cybersecurity professional or a forensic specialist, somebody like me. The reason why this is important is because we want to tell the story of what happened. When we do an investigation, we uncover artifacts that give us clues into the actions that the attacker took while they were in the system. This can give us a clear picture of what went wrong so that we can fix it in the future. A lot of information comes out about a company's cybersecurity program when you do a forensic investigation. So there's a lot of value here, not just to remediate the initial problem, but to take a big picture look about what's going on at the company and why this happened in the first place. So the investigation is a critical step to making sure it doesn't happen again. So let's follow through a little bit. Like I said, you're going to make that document. You can use templates. There are some free and available on the internet. Don't get lost in just creating a document that's templatized that doesn't mean really anything to you. You do want it customized to you. You do want to have specifics in there. You need to know what you're saying. The other big tip of encouragement that I give is allow your employees to communicate to management or a responsible party when they think something is going wrong. You want to create an open line of communication, either an email address or a phone number that an employee can contact IT and let them know, hey, I think I made a mistake. I think I clicked on something. Encourage people to do the right thing. If we punish them, they may keep it to themselves, and we may have to find out these things are happening in a different way. So we want to create this culture of open communication because it's better for the company to discuss when something goes wrong. Get yourself cyber liability insurance. If you do a forensic investigation, there's going to be a pretty significant price tag. Working with forensic investigators is similar to paying prices of working with a lawyer or a law firm, so the bills can get high pretty quickly. Now, something about cyber liability insurance I want to say is that when it comes to risk, it does nothing to restore the confidentiality, integrity, or availability of the information and the data that was leaked. It simply is a shift in financial responsibility. So we still have other cleanup tasks that we need to do to restore those things. Cyber liability insurance is a financial shift of obligation, and that's all. We want to test the effectiveness of the plan. I keep mentioning this. We need to check and see and make sure that we know what we're doing, and we need to have that relationship built. Something that I encourage companies to do is to find a forensics company, have a relationship with them. Even if you don't need their services right away, you can know who they are, use them, and be ready to respond so that you can reduce the amount of time and the impacts that an incident is going to have on the company overall. That's my discussion on incident response. Thanks for listening. The completion of this cybersecurity educational series. Again, my name is Dustin with TechX Cyber. Feel free to reach out on the forums on my website. Give me a ring. You can text me over WhatsApp, ask questions. Love to chat with you. Feel free to reach out, and thanks for listening.